Welcome, guys, to the Cocktail Podcast. My name's Andre Orchard. Today, I just wanted to talk you through a couple of things that I think are red flags for a bar, a cocktail bar, any type of place you might go into where they serve drinks. Some common ways that some bars can con you into making more money or making you think you've actually got what you have when you haven't. And also some things to spot some good bars as well. So, getting into the first thing, a big thing that I've seen online a lot and that I actually did once at this establishment, and my bar manager shouted at me for doing it. And I didn't realize what was so wrong about it until he actually explained to me, is when people fill up glassware full of ice, but they don't use an ice scoop. So they use the glass, they scrape it along the ice to fill it up that way. In theory, perfectly harmless, but actually, what happens is over time you could get broken pieces of glass that go inside your ice. You could be drinking all of that, and you'll get like little chips around the edges from little shards of glass that aren't really noticeable that can be going into your drink. So if you spot a place that does this, it shows that they're not really that fussed about health and safety, and that you could be swallowing little shards of glass. Another thing I've noticed as well is when bartenders, say for example, they're grabbing some lemon slice to put in your gin and tonic. They pick it up with their fingers, put it in your drink. Doesn't seem that bad also, but if you think about it, bartenders are handling cash, handling cards, washing out glasses sometimes, making drinks. Hands can get sticky. They can be touching gross, disgusting things. And a little exercise I want you to do is next time you're in a bar, have a look at the bartender, person behind the bar, and notice how many times they wash their hands. And it's something that when you actually start looking at, doesn't happen as often as you think it would. So any bacteria that could be going onto that cash or going onto anything inherently dirty is then going on the fruit that's going inside your drink. So usually people use tongs, something that you know you can use such that you're not getting all that harmful bacteria in there. Some bartenders like to use gloves, but my whole philosophy is if you're going to be putting gloves to handle fruit, and then you suddenly need to take card payment, you're going to take off those gloves, re-put gloves back on, it just becomes a bit more complicated than if you just use tongs. So do pay attention to that. Third thing, if they put straws in your drink, they put their fingers right at the top of where your lips would meet. Same type of thing as with the garnish or with the fruit that they're putting in your drinks. If they put their fingers around the bit your lips are going to go around, it's no different really to that bartender than just sticking his fingers in your mouth, which you wouldn't want anyway. So, just little things to pay attention of that you can instantly see when a bartender's making your drink that might not make you want to drink there anymore. Or it's the type of things that you may notice that you can speak to your bartender and go, can I actually choose my own straw? Can you use tongs when picking up my fruit? Some of the little things that they wouldn't mind doing anyway. And it means you have a lot healthier experience. You're already putting alcohol in your body. You don't need anything else that's harmful going in there. Speaking about cons, so there's a show that I watched, The Real Hustle. It was an old show done in the 2000s where they talked about cons that you can do in type of like everyday life, things that you can be aware of to make sure you're not getting conned yourself. And typical philosophy, if it's too good to be true, it usually is. And one of the things they talked about on there is some people came up to the bar, ordered double vodka and lemonade, double vodka and Coke. So a lady goes behind the bar, she turns her back, does their vodka and Coke, gives it to the ladies try it, happy to pay, they pay it. What's happened, she's turned her back, put her thumb over the speed pourer and put a dribble of vodka in there, so they're basically getting none of what they paid for. And then when they're looking, she picks up a glass that has vodka on the side, puts her thumb over it to take some of the vodka out, so all the first sip they're getting is vodka. She then mixes it in with the Coke without them noticing, and they think they've got a perfectly good double vodka and Coke, when actually they've just got a straw full of vodka to begin with, and the rest of the drink isn't really going to matter. It's one of those things that doesn't really happen that often, but is something to be aware of. I used to work in a nightclub, and we always used to pour spirits on the back bar. We used to turn around from the customer and used to make it that way. We never used to do it in front because customers could come up, grab it, run off, be really difficult to track them in a nightclub. So it's just something to kind of be vigilant of, and obviously call out behavior when you see it. Another one as well, which I thought was quite intelligent that I hadn't thought of. The lady goes, "Oh, you'd like 2 single gin and tonics?" So the guys go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Oh, do you like them strong, do you?" And pours them doubles, but only charges them for singles. And so the gents go, "Oh, she's been really nice to us. Leave her a £3 tip." She then pockets that tip, and she does that over and over throughout the evening and ends up getting a load of money for herself. Again, it's too good to be true, it usually is. The gin she was using was watered down. So they are only getting singles because it's weighed down by 50%. Gents aren't really going to notice. Bit more difficult if you put more ice in order to tell the difference between a single and a double. So yeah, just something else to be aware of. So good things that you want to look for in a bar. Things that when you go in, you sit down at the bar, you have a drink, you know that you're actually getting what you're asking for, you're at a good quality place, getting quality drinks and quality ingredients. I had a long think for a while about this, and one thing that instantly came to mind was how well the staff are dressed. Now, that's not a be-all and end-all, and obviously I'm dressed in a tie and a waistcoat, so you can get really nice cocktail places that staff aren't well dressed. It can happen. I'm not saying that, just because the staff aren't particularly well dressed doesn't mean you're not going to get some amazing drinks, but it is a good indicator. If the place is regimented in terms of the uniform that they're doing for the staff, that should mean that they have a system in place, that they actually care about the way their staff look, they care about what drinks are going out to their customers, what food is going out, and they have some type of quality control. Another thing as well, the bartenders are tasting cocktails. And this is something that I didn't really know until I got into cocktail bartending. Every single cocktail I send out, I taste. Doesn't matter whether I like it or whether I hate it. I know what the cocktail, when the recipe was created, was meant to taste like. So if it's not up to my standards, then I'm not happy to serve it to you. So if they're tasting the cocktails before they send them out, good indication that they're going to be good drinks. Bartenders are checking, and they have that quality control for you to make sure you're getting the drinks that you actually pay for. Another thing as well, you don't like a drink. So James and I had a conversation about this on our first episode. If you don't like your cocktail, you order it. I had a gentleman who came in here who ordered one of our cocktails. I wasn't particularly a fan of it at the time. He didn't like it. He came up to the bar. I tried it. I said, "Okay, let me check it, see if I made it incorrectly." Checked it, completely fine. That's how the cocktail's meant to taste. I explained that to the gentleman. He said, "Yeah, I just don't like the cocktail." I said, "Absolutely fine. What type of things do you like?" We were happy to do another cocktail for him, because if somebody gets really angry towards you not liking a certain cocktail, or makes a big fuss about you complaining about a drink, it's not a good indication that they care about you as a customer. And I mean, customer's always right, so that comes as well with good cocktail places. Another thing as well that I've noticed, if you have a conversation with the bartender and you go, this is mainly specifically for cocktails in this point, you go, "Not entirely certain what I'd like. Can you suggest something for me?" And they have a conversation with you and they go, "Great, what spirits do you like?" "Oh, I like gin." "Cool. How do you want it to taste? Do you want it quite sour, quite sweet, quite dry?" "Oh, I'd like it sour." "Okay. What particular fruit juices do you like? What kind of flavors?" "Oh, I like something with apple. So can you make something with apple juice that's containing gin that's sour?" "Yeah, absolutely. I'll come up with something for you." Or there's this specific cocktail that we had on our menu like a couple years ago. It's something similar. Doesn't have as much apple in it, but I can sort of alter the recipe a bit and see how it works for you. That's a big thing as well. Being able to question your bartender, it gives you confidence because he's knowledgeable, and usually they come up with something really original, really nice. It gives them an opportunity to shine. and they're more than happy to do it because you rarely get those customers who come in. You've been making the same cocktails you make for 12 hours. Somebody comes in, gives you a bit of a challenge. It's quite nice to be able to flex your artistic ability and creativity to come up with something nice for that customer. So yeah, if you think of anything else that you think is a bad sign for a bar, a good sign for a bar, or potentially other ways that bars can con you, feel free to let me know. Either comment on the YouTube video at the Cocktail Podcast, or get in contact with me on Instagram at the Cocktail Podcast with things that you think are bad for a bar, good for a bar, how you're able to tell from the moment you walk in whether that bar is really looking after you in terms of health and safety, or whether they're trying to steal your money. Thank you for listening.